It is safe to live in my neighborhood. There are many surveillance cameras in the area, so I feel safe to get around late at night. However, my mom always yells at me when I come home late. I want to live alone. There is a bus stop in front of my house. The subway station is just a few blocks away from my house, so it is convenient to use public transportation. I always travel by public transportation. I live in an apartment, but I don't get along with my neighbors. I actually don't even know who lives next door, but I think it is important to get to know your neighbors. I usually come home late at night. However, there's been lots of theft in the neighborhood. So recently, I try to go home early in the evening, but it is scary to be home alone. So when no one is home, I go out to meet my friends. I am very close to some of my neighbors. We see each other almost every day. I think they're closer to me than my siblings are. I like spending time with my neighbors. There are not enough parking spaces in my neighborhood. It is difficult to find a spot when you're trying to park late at night. Some neighbors often argue over parking. I thought there still was the last bus, so I waited for it for more than half an hour. It turned out that the last bus had left 5 minutes before I came. I was sitting on the bus. An old lady got on and stood next to the person in front of me. I thought he would stand up, but he didn't. I felt bad and gave up my seat to the old lady. I was waiting at the bus stop in the morning. A packed bus came. I usually don't get on those, but I was already late to work, so I just got on. I ended up staying through the whole ride. It was very tiring. I always try to scan my transit card when getting off the bus, because that way I can get a free transfer to another bus or subway. If I'm not going to transfer, I just get off without scanning the card. There were so many people near the front door that I went to the back door and got on. The bus driver told me off. He said that it was dangerous to get on from the back door. I had no choice. I almost fell when the bus made a sudden stop because I wasn't holding onto a strap. It was embarrassing because everyone looked at me. I took out my cell phone and pretended to make a call to my friend. I always retouch my pictures with Photoshop before I post them on Facebook. The pictures look much better with Photoshop. I think Photoshop is the greatest thing ever. I used to use a Polaroid camera a lot, but it is such a bummer to buy an instant film. Now I can take pictures on my cell phone and print them out. It is very convenient. I saw my favorite actor at a restaurant. I wanted to get an autograph, but I thought it was rude to ask him while he was eating. So I decided to take pictures of him secretly. My friend said that was ruder than asking him for an autograph. I accidentally deleted all the pictures on my cell phone. I almost cried but realized that I had backed up my phone a week ago. I couldn't be more proud of myself. I went to my favorite singer's concert. I took a lot of pictures of her, but most of them were all blurry. I am such a bad photographer. My friend looks so pretty in pictures. She is so photogenic. On the other hand, I am not very photogenic. It is sad. However, I don't think she is prettier than me at all. She is just photogenic. I like going to the bookstore. It is fun looking around the bookstore. When I have time, I just go there and pick up some books, even though there's nothing in particular I want to buy. The book I was looking for was not in stock at the bookstore I went to, so I called on the bookstore to see if they have a copy. They did, so I went there and got it. I had the list of books I needed. I went to the bookstore with the list and got all excited. I ended up buying more books than I needed. When I go to the bookstore, I first go straight to the bestseller section. There are shelves of bestsellers only. It's always fun to see the books on the shelves. I once bought a new book at a bookstore, but it was damaged. I had to go back to the bookstore the next day. Since then, I always check before buying a book. There are kiosks for searching for books at bookstore. It is convenient to use them because they don't have to chase bookstore staff to ask for help. I was having a hard time looking for a book. I looked it up on a kiosk, but it said the book was out of stock. I really needed the book, so I asked the bookstore staff for help, and he helped me to locate it. He was so nice. I don't like going shopping with my girlfriend. When we go shopping, it takes forever. She usually spends 5 hours on shopping. She tries on everything. It makes you feel stressed. I like trying samples at the food market. I always go grocery shopping when I'm hungry. Yesterday, I went to a grocery store and tried too many samples as always. I was too full to have dinner afterwards. When I go grocery shopping, I always check the expiration dates before buying anything. It took 2 seconds to check. Then I don't have to worry about throwing away food. I walked into a store and the sales clerk asked me if I needed any help. I said no and walked around. She followed me. It was annoying. I couldn't stand it and walked out of the store. If I'm not happy with my purchase, I can return it. However, I must have the receipt. I tried to return an item without the receipt, but I could only exchange it for another item. It is nice to shop at street stores. I can get a cash discount. So I always pay in cash when street shopping. I like getting a discount. I don't want to spend much money on shopping.